Good morning, students. I hope you are all are doing well. So today we are going to study about the landforms. Basically, what is a landform? A landform is a natural or artificial feature of solid surface of the Earth or other planetary body. Okay, and landform together make up a given terrain, and their arrangement in the landscape is known as topography. So, how does a landform look like? There are variety of landforms across the world and the surface of the earth is uneven. Some parts may be rugged and some are flat. So the earth has an immeasurable variety of landforms. These are created by internal processes, some are created by external processes. Lead all these things, the upliftment and sinking of the earth's surface leads to creation of these landforms. So this is what we are talking about, the landforms. And what is it written? Landforms are the shapes of the land on Earth's surface. And most of you have seen the variety of landforms around you. If you have gone somewhere, if you have been to the mountains, if you have been to the deserts, or you have seen the flatlands or the greenlands, all these are known as the landforms. Here are some examples of the landforms. Not examples, basically, these are the types of landforms. And the types are the first one is mountains, hills, valleys, desert, plains, and plateaus. So, first of all, we will talk about the mountains. What is a mountain? A mountain is an elevated portion of the Earth's crust, generally with steep sides that show significant exposed bedrock. A mountain differs from a plateau in having a limited summit area and is larger than a hill. Its height is bit of higher than the hill, but not like the hill. Mountain is somewhat that is raised very high. And these are the types of mountains. The first one is the fold mountains, volcanic mountains, block mountains, and relic mountains. So, fold mountains are basically the mountains which are created when the crust of the earth collides with each other and it forms the shape of a cone. When it collides, it forms the shape of a cone. These are known as fold mountains. The second one is volcanic mountains. These are formed due to volcanic activity. When the lava comes out of the mountains and the layers that surrounds the existing mountain and the layers on layers on layers collects and the volcanic mountains is formed. The third one is the block mountains. The block mountains are created when a large mass of land is broken and displaced vertically. It means when the crust, earth crust, which is below uh, the tectonic plates, which are below the earth crust, when they repel each other or they are displaced vertically, then the mass of land that is being created is known as the block mountains. The next one is the hills. What are hills? A natural mound of earth created either by faulting or erosion. A bump-like structure in the landscape, lower altitude and elevation with a rounded top, often unnamed. There are various hills across the world, but it does not have a specific name like mountains. You can count that the names of the mountains, you can name some of the mountains like Mount Kailash, Mount Everest, Mount Kilimanjaro, but this is not the case with the hill. Hill is often unnamed. Hill is also a raised piece of land, but it is slightly smaller than the mountains. It is not raised as much high as the mountains. Its height is lesser than the mountains. The next one is the plateau. What is a plateau? In geology and physical geography, a plateau, also called a high plain or a tableland, is an area of highland consisting of flat terrain that is raised sharply above the surrounding area on at least one side. Often one or more sides have deep hills. It is a elevated flat land. A table-like structure is formed and standing above the surrounding area. You can have some examples like the Deccan Plateau in India is one of the oldest plateau, the Western Plateau of Australia, and the Eastern African Plateau in Kenya. The Tibetan Plateau is also there. And if you talk about its uses, plateaus are very useful as they are rich in mineral deposits. For example, African plateau is famous for gold and diamond mining. And there is a plateau in India also, which is known as Chota Nagpur Plateau. It has a huge reserve of iron, coal, and manganese. So, plateaus are like the tabletop structures which is raised high above the ground. Next is desert. Desert is an arid region characterized by extremely high or low temperatures and has scarce vegetation. Scarce vegetation means uh, no vegetation or somewhat trees that are there in a particular habitat. The desert is the barren land where nothing grows. And you all know which animal is called the ship of the desert. Camel is known as the ship of the desert. So desert is basically formed. We cannot say formed, but it is made up of sand all around. And during the daytime, its temperature is very high, almost 48 degree, 50 degree, or more than that, 52 degree. And at night, its temperature is very much low. Next is plain. What is a plain? A plain is a flat expanse of land that generally does not change much in elevation and are primarily treeless. And plains occurs as lowlands along valleys or at the base of mountains as coastal plains and as plateaus or uplands. Generally, plains are not more than 200 meters above mean sea level, and they are very fertile. Hence, these plains are very thickly populated regions of the world. You can see most of the population living on the plains. Uh, After that, you can see some of the population living on the mountains, then plateaus, and somewhat in the deserts. But the densely populated area, the densely populated landform that is there is known is the plain. For example, the largest plains made by the rivers are found in Asia and North America. Large plain in Asia are found by the Ganga and the Brahmaputra in India. And if you talk about China, it's Yangtze River. And if we talk about its use, plains are useful areas for human habitation and building houses, construction of the transport network, as well as for cultivation is easy. Here, cultivation is easy. In India, the Indo-Gangetic plains are the most densely populated regions. So the so what we have studied today is we have studied about the mountains. They are the elevated piece of land which are raised very much high. And next one is hills. What are hills? They are also elevated piece of land, but it's not that much as high as the mountains. And desert, they are barren lands made up of sand all around. And what are plains? Plains are flat expanse of land that generally does not change much in elevation and are treeless. The You can say grasslands. And the next is plateaus. What are plateaus? Plateaus are also called a high plain or a tableland. It is in the shape of a table, elevated from the sides and flat from the top. This is known as plateaus. So, class, we have studied this much, and for today, this much is okay. We will study more in the next class. Thank you, class.